Hey guys, it's 258. Last chapter was a little plot chapter with Lyra and Krish. And the end of it, apparently Lyra couldn't stop thinking how magical it would be with Bonbon. Like, come on, Bonbon. She just wants you to be there with her. Come on, you fucking hypocrite. I'm not sure. I feel like Bonbon, I feel like every pony, at least no acknowledges Chris and actually says good morning to Chris now, because 4 year here and all that. But Lyra is the one that does it, it's the one that's mostly avoids him at all costs, no matter what, which is a problem. Also, chapter 3 is called "U" is for Bonbon. Not sure what that means, but chapter titles and all that. Anyways, let's hop right into it. U is for Bonbon. Just said that again. It was a dark, cold, and snowy winter's day in Ponyville, and Bonbon's candy shop was suffering because of it. Business had started to steadily drop ever since winter started. No pony wanted to tread through the deep snow and blistering cold for a simple sweet. These days, every pony would much rather spend their time in a cozy cafe or some other location where they could indulge in the company of friends and get a steamy hot beverage to warm their bodies. So, is she open? Because I feel like if it's winter and she knows this, she should be closed and just enjoy the winter. Places like Sugar Cube Corner took most of Bonbon's customers away around wintertime. It was more convenient for ponies, and they always served hot beverages and baked goods with plenty of places to sit around and chat with friends. Even the little fillies and colts returning home from school rarely stopped by this time of the year. Bonbon missed getting to see their adorable smiling faces as they bit into one of her delicious sweets. It wasn't all bad though. Bonbon would get some good business before Heartswarming Eve that helped with various expenses, and it was always fun for her to hear what every pony had planned for the holiday. Bonbon sat back on her stool behind the checkout counter of her quiet little shop, sighing deeply as she rolled spoiled lemon drops sweet between her hooves. It fell on the floor a while ago, and she needed to throw it away eventually. She dropped the sweet on the counter and watched as a solid candy rolled around until it bumped up against the bet register, stopping its short voyage. So she's bored. Basically, she's bored because she's not getting any business. Feeling bored again, the Earth Pony propped her elbow up on the counter, using her hoof to support her head as she looked around her shop that was still filled with candy. Feeling bored... Okay, just read that. Man, I know how it is, running a slow business. It's kind of sad, but at the same time, you just always have to wait. It was the same story year after year. The summertime was always a pain trying to keep her shelves stocked, since she was the only one making the candy, with a little help from Lyra, of course, and the wintertime was always a struggle just to sell what little stock she had left. If she could afford to take the winter time off, she would, but she needed the few customers she got during this time to help her pay bills out until after winter wrap-up, when business would start picking up again. Her good friend Berry Punch suggested that she expand her store and add in some kind of hot or cold drink bar that way customers could come in to get a warm beverage and a place to sit and chat. It was a good idea. Bonbon definitely wanted to give something like that a shot, but there were a few complications with the plan. First of all, she didn't really know how to manage something like that, and second, she needed somebody to run the bar while she took care of the store. She couldn't make candy, help customers, and ring up their purchases all while trying to mix drinks and bus tables. Berry Punch offered to work as a bartender, but she wasn't really known for her work ethic. Lyra might not be able to help, but she was always busy with her music gig and her cult friend, or more accurately, her human cult friend. Why does he piss you off? I hate you. I hate her right now for that. Still, I want to throw Wolf's tea bags at you. Damn. That's honestly I want to do. Bonbon frowned, feeling slightly depressed that her best friend wasn't around as much as she used to be. It was always a challenge trying to find a time when they were both free. She couldn't help but feel like Lyra's human was to blame for her constant absence, and she resented him for it. Still, it was pretty adorable seeing Lyra so hopelessly in love, and she hated to admit it, but the human really made Lyra happy, so at least it seemed like he was treating her properly. Are you kidding? Chris would not... if Chris actually hurt her, it would break his heart. Are you kidding me, Bonbon? And it seems like, of course he's treating her properly. What the fuck? Even though she wasn't the human's biggest fan, she couldn't truly blame him for wanting to spend every waking moment with a unicorn. Lyra was a beautiful and wonderful mare, and he was a very lucky stallion to have her, though sometimes she felt like he didn't really understand how lucky he truly was. He right now is... Are you kidding me? Let's see. Chris was ripped away from his own world didn't really know what the fuck was going on when he came into the Everfree Forest and was found by Lyra. He was locked up, I guess, for a few weeks by Twilight, and Lyra was there with him. Are you kidding me? Of course he fucking knows how lucky he fucking is. What the fuck? It was pretty easy for Bonbon to relate to the human's affection for Lyra and see why he would want to be with her, but she couldn't for the life of her understand what Lyra saw in him. Sure, from the outset, he seemed like a nice enough stallion, especially when Lyra was around. But his hand things were just so odd, and he was just so. Okay, first thing, Bonbon, think of them as claws, because I feel like that's gonna help you out a little bit here. Because if you wanted to, you can actually make those into claws with just growing out simple nails. You fucking idiot! Literally, they're literally just claws, just without the freaking sharp ends. The sound of bells ringing snapped Bonbon out of her thoughts. She looked up to see a young peasant couple that had just entered the store. One was a pale gold mare with a Tiffany blue mane. Her cutie mark had 3 blue raindrops on it. The other was a larger blue stallion with a white mane and a rainbow for his cutie mark. It looked like the two were lovers, judging by how they both entered side by side with their wings draped over each other. That was something that Bonbon knew Pegasite did with her loved ones, especially when the weather was as cold as it is now. Also, the fact that they were both wearing a matching set of red booties and scarves was a dead giveaway. Bonbon, they were matching. But you know, they might actually, be like siblings and just trying to keep each other warm. Bonbon jumped down from her stool and looked toward the couple, mustering a bright and cheerful smile. Good afternoon and welcome to Sweetie Drop's candy shop. Can I help you to find anything in particular? The blue stallion shook his head before responding. Nah, we're just looking around. Don't mind us. The two lovers separated themselves for a moment and proceeded to wipe their hooves on the big welcome mat they were standing on, cleaning off wet snow and dirt before leaning back against each other. Well, if you two need anything at all, I'll be happy to help. Bonbon offered in a cheerful tone, smiling all the while. She stood by the checkout counter and watched as the couple walked into her store with their wings still wrapped around each other. Once they had turned away, Bonbon let out a sad sigh and jumped up on her stool once more. She sat up straight and waited for the first customers of the day to peruse her candy. Is this a typo? To purchase her candy. I'm gonna say purchase because I'm not sure if that's a typo. With nothing else to do, Bonbon watched the couple while they nuzzled each other and observed various candy selections. Every once in a while, they would stop to laugh at some inside joke they made or peck each other with a light kiss on the cheek. It was painfully adorable. The sappy couple only helped to remind Bonbon of how unlucky she was when it came to finding love. Her past experiences were not the best. Well, god damn it. If it was not the best, Lyra is giving you a chance here. Literally, Lyra is literally giving you a chance, okay? Because she wants you with her no matter what. And clearly it sounds like you miss her, so yes. You should accept her invitation to the fucking herd. Can I just throw all the candies you have in your shopping at you? Just to get you to understand some bullshit. So her past experiences were not the best, but it wasn't like she didn't have love in her life at all. No, in fact, she loved her friend Lyra. Exactly. Who wrote this plus? But even that relationship was a complicated mess, and it only became more complicated when the human first popped up in the question almost 2 years ago. Lyra quickly became friends with the strange creature, and it didn't take long after that for her to fall hopelessly in love. She was obsessed with him, but could never bring herself to actually tell him her true feelings. That all changed thanks to Bonbon's encouragement. She helped Lyra build up her confidence and made a plan of action for the unicorn to convince how she really felt for the human. It worked, much to Bonbon's surprise, and now she was courting the human. She even moved out of the house they shared to live with him. Yeah, it's kind of sad, man. It's kind of sad seeing this from Bonbon's perspective. Like, Chris is happy with the mirror, like, that, I guess, gave him hope in this new world. But you just lost your best friend at the same time, Bonbon. But she gave you a fucking invitation. Just take it. Do that. Give the fucker a chance, man. Can I just slap you? Even though I can't really jump. Sometimes when I read these, I just want to jump into the text and or in the world and just be like, get your mind straight. Even though she'll probably be scared of me when I slap her because she's freaked out by hands. I'm so upset at Bonbon right now. Bonbon's home just wasn't the same without Lyra's cheerful and uplifting personality there to brighten up the gloomy days like today. I feel bad for you. I honestly feel bad for you, but at the same time, god damn, I'm mad at you. This funny wanted to lay her head on the counter and wallow in her own self-pity, but couldn't while her customers were in the store. She missed living with Lyra and no longer longed to hear her infectious laughter and beautiful music fill the empty rooms of her home again. If only she could go back in time and stop herself from encouraging Lyra to admit her feelings for the human. Then she could have her friend back, honestly. She never would have guessed that the human would actually return Lyra's feelings. He was supposed to have the common sense to tell Lyra no, and then she would have moved on to a better mate, like a real stallion. Why do you keep saying real stallion, you little fuck, okay? That pisses me off more than anything else right now. Like a real stallion. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you. There's different relationships around here, so you better accept that she's with a different species, alright? Fuck you. But all that barely matters now. Lyra was happy, and that's what was truly important. Bonbon was grateful that her friend could find joy in her life with a human, but her sad, and if she was being completely honest with herself, she was even a little envious of her friend. It would just be selfish for her to want to change all that now. She wants you by her side with them, you fucking idiot. She's not really happy right now. She's happy that she got Chris, but she wants you there. That still leaves a hole in her happiness meter. Fuck you. Even if she had the option to change the past, she wouldn't really do it. She could never take Lyra's happiness away from her, no matter how much she might want to. Especially now, since Lyra started to constantly pastor her to join their little herd. Oh, she's pastoring you. Please, god damn it. I do hope at least like in the first couple of dates they get to know each other a little more, honestly. I do hope. It all started several months ago in the fall. Lyra would come down to see her when she had the time, and at some point during her visit she would ask Bonbon out for a date, and if Lyra was dating a normal pony then she would have gladly gone out with a unicorn, but that just wasn't the case. Then this is the problem. You're traditional as fuck. That is the fucking problem here, you fucking dumb earth pony. Bonbon sighed deeply, taking a moment to fantasize about what life would be like if Lyra was with a normal stallion. Oh, you're gonna fantasize about it? Fuck you. You know what? I just feel like Chris just needs a fucking transformation potion. Just turn into a pony for a date. Just why the fuck not? You know, just see what happens there, even though you probably wouldn't walk in that form for possibly for a few days. She could clearly visualize Lyra and their dashing stallion lover getting ready for the coming heartwarming Eve celebration, one of her favorite holidays of the year. Their bright and happy foes would be running around the house, overcome with the holiday spirit. Okay, you fantasize, boy, you're already like 20 years in the future. What the fuck? What's up with all of you guys just imagine everything in the future already with foes and shit? I understand why Chris fantasized about it, because Lyra asked him would he love to have some foals one day, and he said yes. Like if it was just, honestly, I would say yes too if it was come out of the pony. She would be in the kitchen with Lyra, using her magical talents to help making all the festive holiday treats for their family, while their strong, handsome stallion played with their children in the other room. Their stallion lover would offer to help them in the kitchen because he was always a gentle colt like that, but Bonbon would refuse him and shoo him off to tell the children more stories of why they always celebrated heartwarming Eve, which he would always love doing, and their foals would grow up to be wonderful ponies with their father's guidance. It would just be so perfect, and she would live happily with Lyra for the rest of her days. And you can't visualize this with Chris. Fuck you. And the main point here is the hand thing. You know what? Chris just have spiders in his hands and be like, haha, surprise. So I'm guessing, okay. So he said no. She said no to the herd thing, and Lyra keeps pestering her about it. Honestly, my readings are more of a reaction type of based thing now, so you know. If you're just for the reading, then go fuck yourself. Anyways, come on, Bonbon, just go on a date, you fucking traditional fucking earth pony. The more Bonbon thought about her fantasy with Lyra, the more she really wanted it to be real, but it would never be true, not when she was with the human. well, maybe you should start thinking about the human, okay, you fucking bitch. Her fantasy started to shatter as she thought more about it, what it would really be like to try and date the tall human. She couldn't really imagine how to even go about it. Not only that, but what would her family think of she... Okay, this is a moment where you shouldn't care about your family. Okay, your family raised you, of course, but you're living your life now. You are the deciding factor here. You yourself can decide where your fucking life goes, okay? And fuck me, only have 1 year of high school left. And I don't even know what the fuck to do with my life. But goddammit, Lyra, you're away from your family. You are an independent mare now. You choose what the fuck you want to do, okay? Tradition, fuck that. Because that's some boring shit, okay? Alright. Not only that, but what would her family think if she joined a herd with a bipedal stallion? Her family was very traditional and had a long history of joining pony-only herds. Her parents would surely expect her to do the same. Her mother especially would constantly pester her about finding some nice stallion to settle down with and start making some grand foals for them. Something that she knew was impossible with a human. He wasn't a ponyo, even from this world. That meant they would never be able to have a proper family with him, but that fact never stopped Lyra. Yeah, Lyra came prepared. Like once she was falling in love with him, boom, Lyra was like looking for spells and shit, making sure like if he returned the feelings, making sure like they can have a full. Yeah, like Lyra loved him so much to make sure like they can start a family, and she wants that. Okay. The unicorn kept going on about Princess Cadence and her new spell that allowed a griffin and a Pegasus couple to have a foal together, which Bonbon later found out was indeed true, but it was a complicated spell and there was still no telling if her magic would even work on the human, not to mention what the princesses might think of all this. Would Princess Cadence even support them settling down with the human when Princess Twilight was still trying to find a way to return him to his own world where he belonged? There's no doubt he'd still want to go back if there was a way to send him home, right? Oh, fuck no. What the fuck? First, Twilight needs to stop doing that, okay? Because first thing, he's in love with Lyra, and he would want to stay by Lyra no matter what. This is a problem. I feel like Twilight is like always the one looking for them to go home, but nope, they're gonna stay because they love the world, all that. Though even if all did go as planned and Princess Cadence was willing to help them, then that would still mean trying to make love with a bipedal creature, and that would just be... Okay, you're fantasizing, you're imagining this. Like, you don't understand how to please him. Lyra already does because she's been with him. That's why Chris asked to explore her body a bit to know. Also, apparently, you ponies don't know what a G-spot is, and apparently Chris found that in Lyra, which just made her love of the day. Like right now, Bonbon's thinking like, how would she go about making love with him, even though Lyra has done it many times, and Lyra would probably help you out if she was, you know, if you joined the herd. Okay, there we go. That's the word. That's what I'm trying to say here. Bonbon shuddered slightly as her thoughts ran wild with visions of the bizarre human reaching out with his creepy, spidery limbs, grabbing and holding her as he tried to stick his whatever weird thing he had inside her. She could clearly visualize those long, spiny hands of his crawling all over her body, making a cold chill run down her spine. Oh, come on. How Lyra could stand sleeping in the same bed with him was beyond her. It wasn't that he was particularly unattractive, but he was so tall and scary looking at times, and he was just so different. She couldn't compare him to anything else she had ever seen. Minotaurs maybe, but even that was a stretch. Trying to become intimate with a normal stallion was strange enough for her. Then, get out of your comfort zone, Lyra! I mean, Bonbon. Okay, keep messing up Lyra and Bonbon. Get out of your comfort zone, you fuck! God damn it, you know how much happier you will be if you get the fuck out of your comfort zone? Okay. Like, she couldn't even become intimate with a normal stallion. Was strange enough for her, and she was confident that trying to do that with a human would be a far worse experience. You don't know unless you fucking tried. Bonbon had been intimate with a stallion once before, and that experience was painful to say the least. She knew that the first time with a male was always supposed to hurt in the beginning, but there should have been pleasure after the pain, or at least that's what her friends kept telling her. It seemed her first time was a unique one because after the pain had subsided, she couldn't feel much or anything else, and before she knew it, it was knew it, the experience was over. This was part of the reason why she preferred mares when it came to intimacy. But it wasn't like she had hated stallions or anything like that. She did find a lot of them attractive and always dreamed of starting a family with one, but her next stallion lover would have to be something special before she went through that again. I'm guessing your first stallion wasn't good at, pleasing you. Baba lost her train of thought when she noticed the Pegasus couple whispering sweet nothings to each other in the middle of her store. She figured they would be doing that for a while and decided to lean back on her counter and keep herself occupied with a spoiled lemon drop again while she contemplated more about her depressing love life. Come on, Papa, just go ahead and fucking just accept it. Just accept the invitation. Even though they're both gonna take you on a date. Like, Lyra loves you and wants you by her side. Chris is still in denial about having a herd, okay? He's fine with it, but he's still gonna be like really iffy about it. It had been a while since she was last intimate with any pony. Her last partner was, well, Lyra. She really missed these quiet winter nights with the unicorn. Normally at this time of the year, they would snuggle up nice and close and use their bodies to keep each other warm. They would just cuddle like that and swap stories about their days or talk about various common topics and just enjoy each other's company. That is, until it turned into something a little more intimate, and in most cases it did. Baban blushed brightly, chuckling a little to herself at the naughty memory of how their cuddle sessions often seemed to end in a night of passionate lovemaking, and Lyra was such a wonderful lover to her. She always knew just how to push her buttons and get her going, even when she wasn't in the mood. Oh, Celestia, how she missed those pleasurable and romantic nights. Sadly, she couldn't share those kinds of moments with Lyra anymore. Now when she was busy with her cult friend, she had to move on from that beautiful unicorn and accept the fact that she might never enjoy another intimate night with her. But it wasn't all bad. They were still the best of friends. She didn't just hope they could still be more than that. Bonbon wished Lyra was here now. She could really use a friend at the moment, but the unicorn was on tour with her orchestra in Canterlot for the week, and it might be a few more days until she was back in Ponyville. Bonbon sighed sadly to herself, rolling around the lemon drop on the counter that she just now realized needed to be cleaned. Dust was starting to accumulate on its surface and would need to be wiped off before customers bought up their purchases. She was about to reach for her rag and... what? Oh, God. Damn. I've been interrupting the story way too much. Don't give a shit, though. She was about to reach for her rag and cleaning solution under the counter, but the sound of more bells ringing stopped her, making her sit up on her stool as she turned and looked to see who her next customer was. Her eyes started to widen and a bright smile crept onto her lips once she realized who just entered her store and was now standing on the welcome mat with a beautiful smile on her face. A mint green unicorn wearing a dark gray coat-like outfit with two darker green saddlebags at her side was looking and smiling right at her. Hey! Hey, Bonnie, did you miss me? That's definitely a yes, Lyra. Lyra! Bonbon shouted in excitement, jumping down off her stool and galloping towards her friend, embracing the unicorn in a tight hug. They stayed like that for a while until Bonbon thought she overheard one of the pigs in her shop say something like that, sounding like, "Hey, isn't that the unicorn that's courting the human now?" But it was so faint that it could have just been her imagination. Nevertheless, it caused her to awkwardly break off their hug that she was really enjoying. Is that a problem? Like, is that a problem to you, Bonbon? Fuck you. Bonbon, like, even just associating yourself with Lyra now is just bothering you? Are you kidding me? Bonbon took a step back and brought a hoof up to her lips as she cleared the back of her throat slightly before speaking. So, Lyra, it's really good to see you back. So, she paused when she noticed something was very odd about the coat Lyra was wearing. It didn't seem to fit her very well at all. The mist section was a little baggy and the bottom part of her sleeves seemed tight around her hooves. She also noticed a little hood accessory on the back, but it was far too small for it to reach the top of her head, making it virtually useless to the unicorn. It's Chris's jacket, isn't it? It's Chris's jacket. You can just already tell. Lyra, what are you wearing? Lyra paused for a moment, raising a questioning eyebrow at her friend, but a small smile started to spread across her lips when she seemed to remember what she had on. Oh, you mean this? Lyra asked, pointing to the fabric on her chest with a hoof. Baba nodded. Yes, it doesn't really seem to fit you. Do you need to borrow a better coat? She asked. Feeling concerned that her friend might be in a tight spot and had to buy a cheap thing that didn't fit her very well. Nah, it's okay. I got my own at home, but this one isn't mine. I was smiling brightly. It's Chris's hoodie that he commissioned from already a while ago. He said if I was careful with it, I could wear it while I was on tour. She explained, rubbing the hoodie onto her chest a little with her hoof. Come on. Don't ask. Okay, she asked why she's wearing it. And I can guess, like, she wanted to have a part of him while she was on tour. Come on. Bonbon blinked a few times, tilting her head slightly, giving Lyra a confused look. Why would you wear his hoodie if you have your own coat that actually fits you? That's not what matters here, okay? She's not cold. You guys have fur half the time. Don't need to worry about having a jacket. Lyra laughed nervously. Well, she began to explain, drawing bashful circles into wooden floor of the shop within her hoof. It smells like him, so I wanted to bring it to help comfort me before I went out and performed in front of every pony. Okay, so there might be some inconsistencies. I'm not sure. I had to go somewhere real quick. Anyways, so yeah, to help perform in front of every pony. Okay, hold the phone. All right. Now tell me if this is like this chapter's a little bit messed up. I'm not sure. Anyways, Bonbon raised her eyebrow and gave Lyra a bemused expression, but curiosity got the better of her. She leaned in slightly, taking a deep breath through her nose. She could smell Lyra's natural minty scent, and there was a faint fragrance of the human that lingered on her. But that was nothing new. His aroma was always mixed with hers now. It doesn't smell that much like him. Well, I've worn it for a few days, so the scent is almost gone by now, Lyra said, blushing slightly, avoiding eye contact with Bonbon. Bonbon rolled her eyes, but smiled at the love-struck unicorn. It was pretty adorable to see her guest full flustered talking about the strange things she did with her cult friend, but if she was courting a real stallion, then she would be wearing a coat that actually fit her right now. Nevertheless, Bonbon couldn't help but feel jealous of her friend's adorable fondness for her mate. Even if he wasn't a pony, and she was slightly crazy for loving him in the first place. Well, I'm glad you took the time to come visit me, but I thought you were going to be in Canada for a few more days. Did something happen? Yeah, kind of, Lyra sighed, wiping her hooves on the welcome mat. Some pony in Cloudsdale scheduled a big snowstorm for Canterlot a few days early on accident, so we had to cut our tour short and head home before the storm got really bad. She explained, walking into the store, making her way towards the checkout counter while she used her magic to lift her saddlebags off her sides. Oh, I'm sorry you guys had to leave so early. I know how much you love to play your music up in Canterlot, Bonbon replied, following Lyra as she walked. It happens, Lyra responded nonchalantly, using her magic to set her saddlebags down, leaning them against the checkout counter. It feels so good to finally get those heavy things off, Lyra sighed in relief, stretching her hind legs out after the other, cracking her inking joints. I've been carrying those instruments all around all day. That confused Bonbon a little. Why didn't she drop her equipment off at her house? Wait, what? That confused Bonbon a little. Why didn't she drop her equipment off at her house? And didn't she want to see her girlfriend? From the looks of it, she just got off the train, but the human's house is closer to the station than her shop. Did you just get back this morning? Did you just get back this morning? Why didn't you go home first? Because she's here on a mission, Bonbon, and that mission is for you. Is that a problem? Like, if that's a problem, like, you want her in your life. We all get this. But come on, you want to stay in your comfort zone, which is a problem. Now returned and gave Bonbon a bright smile before answering the question. Well, I wanted to come and see you, and I know it's been hard to find time to see each other lately, so I figured I could come by and help around the shop while I'm free. Plus, business is always slow for you around this time, and I know you could use some company. She used her magic to teleport the human hoodie off her body, floating it in front of her. But she folded the expensive hoof-stitched clothing, then set it outside one of her saddlebags. Bonbon's eyes started to tear up slightly from Lyra's words. It was so sweet that Lyra would come straight down after her long and tiring day of traveling just to spend time with her. Oh, Lyra, that's so sweet of you. I would love it if you spent some time with me in the shop, she replied, beaming brightly with a light blush on her cheeks. And Lyra added, walking towards the middle of the store before turning to face Bonbon again with... Wait, where am I? Damn it. And Lyra added, okay. And Lyra added, walking towards the middle of the store before turning to face Bonbon again with a sly grin. I also wanted to stop by so we can make plans for our date. Let's say end of this week, once the sun sets, she asked confidently, giving Bonbon a smug stare. Bonbon was not amused. Suddenly Lyra's offer to spend the day with her wasn't looking as generous as she originally thought it was. Lyra, Bonbon deadpan, frowning slightly, feeling exhausted from having to constantly give the unicorn the same answer. What? I'm so confused. I'm confused as fuck now. Like, you give her the same answer, but Get out of your fucking comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Come on, you can't find an actual stallion. Because that's gonna be hard for you, Bonbon. Just get out of your comfort zone, please. Just please get out of your comfort zone. Wait, Lyra shouted, holding off a hoof in the air and tried to Bonbon before she could continue. Before you say anything, Chris told me to tell you something next time I saw you. He did? Bonbon questioned, raising an eyebrow. What could the human possibly want Lyra to tell her? Did he even care about this whole thing? She honestly thought he would be against this just as much as she was. Oh, okay, first thing, you think you know him. You think you know him when you haven't talked to him, haven't really spent any time with him. You think you know him, you fucking idiot. Lyra took a small step forward, flicking her silky sand mane to the side, giving Bonbon a sensual, half-lit gaze. The unicorn looked deep into her friend's bright, cerulean eyes, smiling gently for a moment, letting her seductive stare enchant the earth pony. Bonbon's cheeks started to heat up as her eyes darted left and right, making her step backwards a bit. Lyra was giving her a look that she hadn't seen in a while. It was a look that the unicorn always gave her before things between them got a little more romantic. Lyra, what are you doing? Bonbon asked in a shaky whisper, trying not to draw any attention to herself. They were in public after all, and the two Pegasus customers stole in her store. She wanted to be intimate with Lyra again, but not like this, not in public. Well, too bad for you. Lyra smiled widened as she took another step closer to the flustered earth pony, holding her seductive gaze. Bonbon swallowed the lump in her throat, taking another step back as her heart started to pound faster in her chest. Lyra, we can't. You know, Lyra cooed and interrupted Bonbon's shaky words while taking another step forward. Wait, what? Taking another step forward. I always thought that happiness started with an H, but that just can't be right. What? Bonbon asked, blushing brightly as she kept slowly backing up until her rear bumped up against the checkout counter, causing her to sit back on her haunches and press her back against the cold wood, still trying to move away from the mint green seductress in front of her. Why can't that be right? Happiness always starts with an H. Lyra inched closer to the trapped earth pony, giving her a toothy grin before responding. Because, Bonnie, she paused, leaning her head towards Bonbon's ears before softly whimpering. My happiness starts with you. Lyra finished by lightly nibbling under the earth pony's ear where she was the most sensitive, causing her to let out a lewd moan that she couldn't stop. Ah, that's adorable. I don't know how Puss came up with this, but that's adorable. Bonbon covered her lips with a hoof and quickly looking around to see if her customers had heard her, but she couldn't see them, and Lyra's body was blocking off half the store. Wait, what? Lyra's body was blocking half of the store from her view. She crossed her hind legs over each other, hoping that would help quell her excitement, which it didn't. Lyra had used lines like that on her before, but this was a new one, and the way she said it was so, oh, Celestia. She means it, she means it. Was this what the human told her to do? Did he tell her to say those things and flirt with her in such an aggressive way to try and persuade her? And why was it working so well? Probably because it was Lyra's idea, not Chris's. Perhaps she was just more lonely than she originally thought. It had been a long time since she was last intimate, but it didn't matter what the reason was. Her back was now pressed up against her checkout counter, and she was cornered by a beautiful mirror, feeling extremely hot and embarrassed. She knew what it looked like, and could only imagine what the Pegasus couple in her shop might be thinking about the whole situation. She just hoped her customers didn't notice what was going on. Lyra stepped back a little, keeping her seductive stare locked onto Bonbon's eyes. So, how about that date, beautiful? She asked in a sensual and charming tone. Damn. If Bonbon was a weaker mare, she might have shouted yes, but she knew what the consequences were if she did that. She took a deep breath, calming herself down for a moment before slowly standing back up, giving Lyra a serious frown before answering her. Lyra, we have been over this. I just can't be part of your herd, she whispered, trying to keep their conversation quiet. Lyra let out a loud groan of disappointment, kicking the wooden floor with her hoof in frustration. Buck, I really thought you would have liked that. Chris said that worked for him back in his other world. Lyra, not so loud. I know you're upset, but there's no need for profanities, Bonbon quietly scolded, not liking the way she used the word buck to express her disappointment. Lyra sighed deeply, hanging her head down slightly for a moment. But why, Bonnie? She looked back at Bonbon with a sad and pleading expression. Just one date, that's all I'm asking. Just accept that, you fuck. Come on. Bonbon hated having to see her so upset. easy having to constantly turn her friend down, but she had to. She just knew that she wouldn't find anything to love with a human. I'm sorry, Lyra, I just don't. Just one date, that's all I ask, Lyra interpreted, raising her voice, begging their pony to reconsider. We'll pay for everything, our treat. How can you say no to a free meal? She asked, raising her voice. She wants. Shh, please not so loud. It will be fun. We'll get to spend time with each other, and Chris is really a great stallion. You have a good time. I just know it. Lyra, Bonnie, I know that if you just give him a chance, you'll be able to find love with him as well. You're right for him, just like he's right for you. What? Oh, okay. I feel like Lyra just jumps around a lot. Lyra reassured, speaking a little softer now. Bonbon only stood there in silence, frowning sadly at the unicorn, not really knowing what to say. She just couldn't picture herself being with a creature like that. I promise, if you go on just one day with us and you're still not interested, then I'll never bug you again about this. Then I'll never bug you about this again, Lyra offered in desperation as her words got louder towards the end. Bonbon went to reply and told Lyra to keep it down again before her customers overheard their embarrassing conversation, but paused and thought, He paused and thought about what the unicorn had just said for a moment. It sounded like she just offered her a chance to never hear of this dating business ever again. Well, wait, so if I agree to one date with you and your cult friend, and if I still don't want to join your herd after that, then you'll stop pestering me about this? Mama questioned, perking her ear up a little higher to make sure she could hear Lyra's response clearly. Lyra thought about the question for a moment, looking away from Bonbon, but eventually she looked back. She stood up straight and took a deep breath, giving the Earth Bunny a serious look. Bonbon, I promise that I will never ask you out on any more dates if you will do me the honor of attending at least one night out on the town with me and my cult friend. Bonbon furrowed her brow, placing a hoof on her chin, looking down slightly as she pondered the pros and cons of Lyra's offer. The unicorn was always true to her word when it came to promises, so that meant all she had to do was get through one day and then be done with this bothersome topic forever. That's what you think. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy it, Bon. It was a simple plan, and at the end of the night, she would just give her thanks and gently explain to Lyra in a very calm and well-thought-out way that she still wasn't interested. Then hopefully they could remain friends, but that meant she would have to talk to the human. She couldn't just ignore and avoid him the whole time like she always did. It would break Lyra's heart if she did something like that on their date. She would have to be hospitable and try to socialize for Lyra's sake. It wouldn't be all bad though. Lyra would be there the whole time, so she could stand talking to the human for a few brief moments if it meant spending more time with the unicorn and making her happy, even if it was for just one date. Oh, Lyra would go to the bathroom. I'm pretty sure he wants to get to know you, you fucking jerk. Okay, mainly because you're Lyra's best friend, and now since he agreed to accept you into the herd. He's gonna be, they're both gonna be disappointed here if you don't, because Chris wants to make Lyra happy, but he's also gonna be a little bit iffy about having you in the herd as well. Okay, Bonbon said, looking back at Lyra with a serious expression, causing the unicorn's ears to perk up a little. If you can promise me that you will never bug me about joining your herd again, then... Bonbon paused, looking away for a moment, thinking if there was any possibility that she might somehow regret this decision. Yes, you are. You better regret it. Lyra's eyes started to widen a little as Bonbon spoke, but furrowed her brow when she paused in the middle of what she was going to say. Bonbon looked back at Lyra before speaking in a calm, clear tone. If you can promise me that you will stop asking me out on a date after this one is over, then yes, I will go out with you and your stallion. You will? Lyra asked in a shaky voice as her eyes started to widen. Bonbon nodded her head. Yes, I will join you both on one date. Even though she was dreading this already, she couldn't help but smile a little, knowing that Lyra would be excited about her finally saying yes. Lyra tackled Bonbon in a tight hug that swept her off her forelegs, knocking the wind out of her. Oh, Bonnie, you'll love it, and I promise I'll never ask you about this again. Lyra shouted in excitement, causing the Earth Pony to pin her ears back against her head to try and soften the loud unicorn shouting in her ear. This day is going to be perfect, and you will have so much fun, Lyra added, nuzzling her cheek against Bonbon's before kissing her deeply on the lips, overcome with joy. See, she loves you, you fucking jerk. Bonbon blushed a deep crimson and squeaked in surprise at the sudden kiss, but soon let herself molt into Lyra's embrace, closing her eyes and enjoying the moment. She tilted her head to the side slightly as the kiss lingered, but before she could get too lost in the moment, Lyra let go of her and stepped back so she could look her in the eyes. This is so awesome, Lyra cheered, shuffling her hooves up and down in giddy joy. She's happy. She's happy. She is fucking happy, and I love it. Now, I hate Bonbon right now. I don't hate her. Bonbon tilted her head down a little, trying to hide her blush and bright smile before responding. Yes, yes, yes. Well, we'll see. She tried to sound serious, but it was hard when she was flustered as she was. So, where are you taking me for our date? Oh, it's a wonderful place, Lyra blurted out suddenly, causing Bonbon to jump back in surprise. Chris and I found the perfect spot. We looked all over and found a restaurant that we both loved, and I know you'll love it as well. It has everything you can possibly imagine, plus their service is outstanding, Lyra cheered, unable to contain her excitement as she lightly bounced in place. Bonbon giggled at Lyra's overwhelming reaction to all of this. It was really heartwarming to see her so happy. It almost made her want to join her herd right then and there, just so she could always see her smile, but something about the unicorn said confused her a little, making her frown again. Lyra, did you say that both of you went out and looked for a place to take me? Lyra stopped her bouncing and gave Bonbon a questioning look. Of course, why wouldn't we? It's just, Bonbon hesitated, thinking a little more about what she wanted to say. You mean to tell me that your cult friend helped you look right? I mean, he is okay with dating me? She asked in a questioning tone. It was a little strange to think that the human would actually go through with this. She could understand if he was doing this just to make Lyra happy, but if he was helping her pick out a spot for the day and giving her pickup lines to use, and was he genuinely interested in having her be a part of the herd? He fucking is. And also, it's a little bit of making Lyra happy. It's mostly making Lyra happy, but yes, he's actually interested in you. Cream-colored fucking pony. Well, yeah, he told me that he really wants to get to know you more. I mean, you don't really talk to him that much. Bonbon frowned sadly, looking down and away from Lyra. She felt guilty about that and knew how rude she was being to the human, and it really wasn't fair to Lyra that she was so apprehensive towards her co-friend, but she wasn't doing it on purpose. The human was just so foreign and big. He was just so intimidating to her. But Lyra continued happily, causing Bonbon to look up again. He said that you seem like a really nice mayor and a good friend. She paused for a moment, remembering something else the human said. Oh, and he told me he thinks you're sexy. She has slowly with a sultry gaze and a light rump wiggle. Damn. Bonbon's eyes shut open and her pupils dilated as her cheeks started to heat up again. Even her heart started to beat a little faster after Lyra said that. She wasn't really sure how to respond to that, but apparently her body did. He said that? She asked in a softly shaky voice, feeling quite shy all of a sudden. Lyra chuckled, noticing her friend's shy demeanor. Well, he used the word beautiful. What? Well, okay, fuck. Well, he used the word beautiful, but with him it means the same thing, Lyra shrugged. Wait, did he use beautiful? I don't even remember. That was last chapter. No, that was chapter 1. I don't even remember. Pretty sure she just asked if she was pretty. He thinks I'm beautiful? Bonbon muttered to herself under her breath, not wanting Lyra to hear her. You know what else he told me about you? Lyra asked in a softly teasing tone, grinning me ear to ear. Bonbon scrunched up her muzzle, thinking about that for a moment. She couldn't imagine anything the human would say about her to be very nice, but the way Lyra asked the question made it sound like he was something good. What did he say? Lyra stepped a little closer, giving Bonbon a sensual gaze again, before whispering to her as if she was telling her a dirty secret. He told me that he loves the way your bright blue eyes glisten and shine in the bright sunlight. My eyes? Bonbon questioned, feeling her heart beat a little faster for some reason. Has he even seen her eyes before? She couldn't even remember even looking directly at him. When did he ever look at her eyes? That's a good question. I don't know either. I'm pretty sure this is Lyra. Pretty sure this is Lyra just flirting with you, just saying Chris said this and Chris said this. I'm pretty sure it's Lyra just messing with you right now. But it's working, so I love Lyra's plan on this. And he also told me that he loves it when your curly mane dances and shimmers in the gentle breeze. Lyra continued whispering subtly. My mane dances? See, like, Lyra is using, like, Chris as a cover here. Like, Chris is, like, right now, Bonbon thinks Chris is the one saying this, but no, it's Lyra. This is what Lyra truly thinks of Bonbon at this moment. This is what I think. Was Lyra telling the truth? Did he really think all of this about her? It always took her hours to maintain her curls, and no pony ever seemed to notice. Oh, that's sad. But do you know what? But do you know what he said he loves the most? No, Bonbon whimpered, looking back at Lyra. It's working though. This is working. Lyra's... Woo! Lyra is a fucking good smooth talker over here. Your flanks, Lyra hissed in a slow, sensual tone. Bonbon's body froze in place as her whole face burned in a bright blush. Had he really been looking at her butt? Excuse me, if you're gonna avoid him and not stare back, of course he's gonna stare at your butt, okay? There's nothing else to admire for the time being. Probably the mane and tail, but fuck you for not actually giving a shit about him, jerk. Fucking thought he would hurt Lyra and shit. Fuck you. The more she thought about it, the more she could start to feel a tickling feeling in the pit of her stomach. But she couldn't quite understand what it was that she was feeling. She figured it had to be fear. She wouldn't be getting all flustered for some weird standing in silly comments, would she? Yes, she would, you fucking idiot. No, she wouldn't care even if it was Lyra was saying was true, which it most certainly wasn't. Was it? No. It's Lyra saying all these things. Lyra's flirting with you, but is using Chris as a cover. That I was already mentioned that. Did he really say all that to you? Bonbon asked, looking into Lyra's eyes. Yep, Lyra chirped happily. I mean, I had to coax him into giving me all the juicy details, but it's all 100% true. Lyra said happily, giggling a little. Bonbon wasn't going to believe that. There was no way that the human could possibly find her attractive. She could understand him finding Lyra attractive. She was practically a model, and she... What? You think she's... What? Bonbon, what? And she couldn't possibly be feeling sappy emotions just because some silence said she had a nice flanks, even though she couldn't really recall the last time one told her she was pretty or attractive, and in such detail. No, it had to be a lie. Lyra was just trying to get her to warm up to him more. True. That's like what she's trying to do. I'm not actually at this moment. I'm not sure anymore. Like he could be saying these things because he notices these things, but I'm not sure anymore. Like most of like. This is going, for example, like I notice people all the time, and I'm more of a scout than anything else, and I'm just like, what's going on over there? What's going on over there? And like you can tell, when some people dress up nicely and look nice, and when others are just like me, where I just get clothes on and just shuffle my way to school. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Lyra's just trying to get you to warm up. Bonbon shook her head, clearing her mind of thoughts, and pushed all her emotions away before straightening herself up and clearing her throat. Well then, I am sure whatever spot you two picked out will be lovely. Just let me know where it is and what time, she said, back in her more natural voice as she quickly composed herself. It's more than nice, but we can talk about that later. I'm not sure if saying later or latter. I'm gonna say later. I'm gonna go in the back to put my stuff away so I can wash up and help you run the shop for a while, Lyra said, smiling brightly. She used her magic to flow her saddlebags and there next to her as she walked into the back room. While stopping, she noticed a stray lemon drop candy that was sitting on the checkout counter. Oh, I love these things. You're going to eat that? She asked, pointing to the candy with a hoof. Bonbon followed her pointing hoof to see the tainted candy she was supposed to throw away. Oh no, you don't want to eat that. But before she could say any more, a golden aura of magic started to surround the soiled sweet and shot straight into the unicorn's mouth. I was suckled and savored the candy, taking its flavor. Nice and sour, just like I like 'em. Thanks, Bonnie, she hummed in delight as she continued to gallop into the back room, shutting the door behind her. Bonbon was left stunned and extremely grossed out. Ew, Lyra, gross, she whispered to herself. If only Lyra knew where that candy had been, but it was a little too late to tell her now. It's just been on the ground. Do you have dirty floors? If you have dirty floors, Bonbon, you need to say some shit and clean your floors. Alright, I'm definitely gonna read part 1 of the date after this, and it's freaking 10:14 p.m., so you know. These stories get me going. Actually, on second thought, Lyra would probably still eat the candy even if she knew where it had been. Oh, okay. Bonbon sighed deeply to herself, reflecting on everything that had just transpired. I really hope I won't regret this later, she moaned to herself. Maybe I should have made her to do the pinky promise just in case. Suddenly, Bonbon's eyes shot open when she remembered that there was still customers in her store. Slowly, she turned around, scanning the shop for the pair, hoping that they didn't see anything or hear anything that happened between her and Lyra. Her stomach started to sink once her eyes fell upon the two lovers in the back corner of the shop, standing next to her gummy Parasprites displays. They were both looking right at her with wide eyes, but soon turned away once they saw her looking at them, pretending like they were still shopping. The stallion even started to whistle a nameless tune as he randomly eyed the different items next to him. It seemed like they had heard and seen everything, and were no doubt judging her for accepting the date with Lyra and her human. Bonbon's embarrassment shot through the roof as her whole face burned in a bright red blush. She looked away from the couple, biting her lower lip, frowning sadly as she grunted herself, thinking that she definitely made a mistake. Oh, sweet Luna, what have I gotten myself into? The end. Hopefully the best fucking date of your life, you fuck. Okay. That's what I'm hoping for. There's 3 parts to the dates, so those chapters are gonna be enjoyable for me. Also, I like how Puss does the author's note thing. Author's note. If there are any mistakes in this chapter, then please let me know. I went back and changed a bunch of things after my editors went through it, so if there are mistakes, it's all my fault. Anyways, I was going to wait a little while to post this chapter since it seems like chapter 3 is going to take me a while to go get out, and I didn't want you guys to have to wait too long in between chapters, but chapter 2 is a pretty important one and helps set up the story, so I figured it was time to post it. I really like how this chapter came out, but I have to give a credit where credit is due. The chapter would not have been what it is now if it wasn't for the help of my buddy Mephisto Killer and Jeremy Storm. They both told me that the bonbon I originally had was too unlikable, and they were right. I agree. I still hate her right now. I originally had her super hateful and sour, but that wasn't what I wanted. So if you like this chapter, then go thank them. Also, I highly recommend you read Jeremy Storm's story to find a rainbow. It's a great read, and if you like this story, then you will love his. And now I return to writing about the date. Will Bonbon see Chris for the stallion he really is? And will Goku make it in time to save his friends for the 50th time this week? Find out next time on Bonbon's Acceptance Ball Z. Where's Goku in all this? God damn it, Puss. Where's Goku and his friends on all this? Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. Listen to what you guys do, and I'll see you guys in the next chapter. Goodbye. What's can we talk about?
How when you kiss another human being, you're technically making one long tunnel from butthole to butthole.
Butthole?